everyone. Welcome to Hungover Podcast number
106.
Nailed it.
We did
on
it.
This end. We did it. We made it to 106. This is the number that I said to myself, if we make it to 106 podcasts, we will have made it one more past 105. I told myself that when we started.
Keep saying things like this. You're really great at that, Ivan.
I'm really surprised that we've made it past 2 years of making podcasts.
I'm not surprised at all. We got this.
Well, you're definitely the driving engine. I'm more
Dedication.
I'm more like the
Dedication.
passenger. If this is like one of those races where there's a driver and then the navigator, I'm the guy behind trying to learn how to be the navigator.
Well,
I feel like somebody else is the navigator.
Ivan, we've hit 94 whole subscribers on our YouTube channel, so I highly suggest if you haven't gone and checked out our YouTube channel, Hungover Gaming, go ahead and do that. We'd really like to hit 100 subscribers, because once we do that, we will actually do another Let's Play. The 100 subscribers Let's Play. I've already decided. I didn't even confirm with Ivan. We're just doing it.
I'm all for it.
I want to
record on the weekends or one
nice.
of the weeknights that isn't Monday, most likely Wednesday, or Friday.
Okay,
oh,
Tuesday
Tuesdays don't work either.
So Thursday, Saturday, or Sunday we can record, and I want to do this cool Let's Play that you brought up, the $5 Twitch challenge. I want to make it the $10 Twitch challenge, but we can debate that. I also like the $5 Steam, sorry. The $5 Steam challenge, where
if you think I'm spending more than $1 on you for this first game, you're crazy. I'm gonna make you play the shittiest game I can find.
No, $5. Come on. We have to have some stakes in this. Oh my god, this guy's an asshole. Anyways, we're going to do that. We're each going to buy each other a game on the Steam store, and then we're going to play it in one video. Or maybe 2 videos, we'll see. But yeah, you can get this podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play, and YouTube in video form. But don't forget, you can tune in live at twitch.tv/jujubesgood and be part of the conversation, where we're going to be, today, spoiling Avengers Endgame, the 10-year accumulation of superhero movies finally has it come to an end? We'll find out in the topic of the show. But of course, we start our podcast out every single week by asking each other, what media have you been consuming besides Avengers Endgame? And what did you drink last night? Julien? Okay, well, I'll tell you.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you.
I was getting ready to decide what order to say things, but Julien,
I know
doing the thing that he usually does when I was about to start talking,
interrupting.
He just steals the spotlight.
That's my whole thing. That's why we do this. It's for me to have a spotlight. No, basically what I've been doing is I saw Avengers Endgame last night. Great time seeing. I had a great time seeing it. I've also been playing a lot of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and on stream specifically, but also on my own time because Joker was released. He's the main character from Persona 5. They also had a huge stage builder update where you can make stages, and people are making penises, but they're also making some really creative stuff. As the typical stage builder or level builder goes, you get the phallic stuff, but you also get some really creative stuff. So I think it's really cool. They actually have an app where you can peruse the, you can peruse the stages built and download it to your Switch.
Wares, sample them before you dive in.
Yeah, you can do that. Also, there's a really cool video editor in the game where you can take clips and you can cut them at certain points and you can mash them together, and you can also add music from the game. So it's like full on
nice.
Creator that they just added all this for free in the game, so it's really cool. I've also been playing a lot of Final Fantasy X, which is a game I missed out on PlayStation 2, and then I tried playing it when it came out on PlayStation 3. And then I stopped playing it, and now it came out on Switch again, and I bought it again. What a guy. But I'm actually really into it this time. I'm actually paying attention to the systems in the game, and it's actually really fun. So basically, they've reduced the party size in battle from 4 characters to 3 characters, and but in exchange for that, they allow you to swap out characters each turn. So you can swap out. You can essentially use your whole party in a match, in a fight, but 3 characters at a time. So I think it's a really cool trade-off for them. And of course, it's a really seminal game in that it was the first Final Fantasy with full voice acting, first Final Fantasy on PlayStation 2, and so as a consequence, it was a lot of people's introduction to Japanese RPGs. So it's really important to a lot of people, this game, for whatever reason. I think it's a pretty cool story, and the characters are actually pretty interesting. I really like Yuna. She's been in a lot of games since then. She's a very popular character, like all the spin-off Final Fantasy games, and she's in Kingdom Hearts, I think, or for whatever reason, those types of games. So the voice actress has gotten a lot of work out of her one character role, nice. So that's good. Otherwise, I also played Civilization 6 over the past week, and I managed to start a game as the Japanese character, and then I completed a game. I actually played it so much that I actually finished a game. I managed to completely avoid a Russian takeover. I was in the African continent, and I had to get Russia was right next to me, and they had I guess the ability of the Russian characters, they can take over land a lot, I guess. I think that has some role. I don't know. Whatever. They basically, the computer took over a huge massive land in front of me and kind of siphoned me off, but I managed to win the game because I was playing the most passive role possible, as you would imagine from my playstyle, if you can imagine my playstyle. Just completely avoid everything, make trades that only benefit me, and then my goal was to just make the most dominate by cultural victory. So I made all the wonders that I could.
United Nations, bitch.
We actually didn't start the United Nations at all in the match, which was interesting. I completely forget how to do it. I was trying to go for a science victory at some point, and then I just ended up winning by tourism. Because I made a bunch of wonders and seaside resorts or something. It's actually the most boring game of Civilization, but I had so much fun doing it.
Listen, Civilization is one of those games where you can...
It's always boring.
You can have so much fun doing the most minutiae of things, and I know Civ 6 is so minutia oriented that it doesn't matter what the victory type is, as long as you get there within 300 hours of one game or whatever.
Yeah, it took about that long. I played a lot for some reason this week, but yeah, that's about it for me. And of course, I watched Endgame.
I wasn't around to distract you with Overwatch.
Yeah, thank God. Jeez. But yeah, so how about you, Ivan?
So Overwatch Workshop came out. And
what was that? I just saw it.
So I haven't been screwing around with it a lot, but it is basically you can manipulate a lot of the different factors within Overwatch to create new characters or switch how the game is played.
Yeah.
They did a battle royale in Overwatch, of course.
That's cool.
But they've also done things like a 2D side scroller,
you play as Tracer
style,
or something?
brawl on on Busan I saw, and I've just been watching a lot of, because I'm not, I don't have time to invest in this, and B, I'm not talented enough to do a lot of this. The simple shit, yeah, you can do that and everybody can do it, but watching people create the 2D side scrollers, so I've been watching a lot of Overwatch.
Can you
videos.
Download other people's levels?
I haven't explored it in nearly enough but I'm pretty sure that is an availability.
Oh, okay, so that's really cool then.
Yeah, it looks pretty fun. I think it's a way that it will reinvest a lot of hardcore people into the game for different reasons, and people are creating like old TF2 characters within Overwatch and
maybe
doing new game types and level design.
Maybe Blizzard will actually integrate it into the playlists in the actual game. I know Halo. Do you remember playing Griffball in Halo?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that was completely fan made. I think
that was a game. Rooster Teeth.
Yeah, Rooster
production.
Teeth. Yeah. So I mean, if it gets popular enough, maybe they'll do something like that. That would be pretty cool.
I think it would be amazing. I think Blizzard is a company that's smart enough to find good talent, and there are people who stream with great success the different things that they've been creating.
That's awesome. Very cool. Very cool.
I've been enjoying watching a lot of those things. I have also... I don't know, I've been spending a weird amount of time with Laura, I guess.
Why is that weird? Enjoying your time with your girlfriend?
Yeah. I got a brand new computer because my my laptop hard crashed.
Okay. And he crashed? Oh, my God. You actually got me. Oh, shit. Damn. We've been dealing with Discord problems for like the past 2 weeks. And his computer keeps freezing, so he actually
but I'm recording on my brand new Dell XPS, which I'm very happy with.
Nice.
And so, eighth generation
Intel
i7. It's 6-core.
Okay.
It's a hexa-core, which is super cool.
Yeah.
In terms of like just the actual physical construction of things. I'm gonna upgrade it over time, but right now it serves my purpose.
You can put RAM into it, and then.
I haven't opened it up, but I know that it can go up to 16 gig of RAM.
That's good.
Because that's the other option. Or 32. It has 16 right now. It can go up to 32. The first thing I was going to do is go from 512 SSD to 1 terabyte SSD.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
But
SSDs are coming down in price.
Yeah, and so by Black Friday, I'll have enough, I'll possibly need to change it up.
Yeah.
But right now, the projects that I'm working on are short enough that even if I fill this up with externals and the massive amounts of online storage that exists, I'll be able to afford it, I think, or afford the time to transfer over everything and everything by November. It's not a hypercritical part.
Cool.
But it's nice because it has built-in GPU and all that. So most of the time this week I've just been playing around on my laptop. We played a couple rounds of Overwatch yesterday on it, and it ran really smoothly.
Yeah.
Other than a latency bump, which I got from being on Wi-Fi, everything ran really, really smooth.
Nice.
I was very happy. Of course, everything's set on low, and Overwatch is a super taxing game. But that was that. I started rewatching No Country for Old Men the other night. It's a really good movie.
Yeah,
it's a really
that
good
is
movie.
an excellent movie. Didn't it win Oscars?
Yeah, it did. I hadn't watched it except for on a plane. And that
really
didn't do the movie justice. Yeah.
No, it didn't.
So now I finally caught it on Netflix. And I was pleasantly surprised that it still held up and was still beautiful and all of that. And
nice.
I really enjoy all the actors, which transitioned into the media that I consumed this week, which also starred Josh Brolin. Avengers Endgame.
Yes.
I also got some D&D figurines.
Just trying to figure out who Josh Brolin was in Avengers.
So I got this little hag. So for $100, I got 32 pre-painted figurines. So I got this hag. She's real cute. He's real cute.
Something I shouldn't have.
This pit fiend, which doesn't make sense for the level that I'm doing.
Fun's huge now.
I like this animated door a lot.
Very cool. Yeah, you'll have to tune into the video portion of the podcast for this because I'm not describing any of these things.
Yeah, and then I got two pieces that one is like a drow character A drow is like the dark elves of D&D. And the other is a beholder, which is a multi-eyed monster.
Oh, that one's weird.
Those two figurines that I showed you, the first one is worth $30 and the second one is worth almost $50, which is basically the price of the pack. So if I just sold those two characters, I bought $100 worth of figurines for $20.
Okay. Oh, dude, I actually successfully sold something on eBay too. I sold my old camera.
Nice.
Which works out. Which was the camera I brought over to see you guys in that Bellini video. But yeah, I got a new camera. So
how was it?
My new camera?
How was the experience?
Selling on eBay?
Yeah.
It was, I mean, I think it depends on what you're selling. But for what I sold, it was a little weird. There was a lot of bots trying to bait me into selling it. They would just contact me directly, and then they'd offer me more money than what I was asking, and so clearly that's a bot. It's like, what are you? And their English is all broken, and it's weird. But I just left it up, and I just completely ignored the things that were obviously bots, and then someone just bought it. Just upright bought it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. If you want to do that. So it sold, and they were totally happy. I added in an extra thing for them, and I just packed it up and sent it away. They paid for shipping, so I can't complain. It was pretty easy to do. All you have to do is just,
That's everything that
it's all through PayPal, right? So it's pretty secure.
Yeah, I trust them.
Yeah. So that's it for the eBay podcast. You know what else? See you next week, guys. You know what came out this week, Ivan? Very sought after movie.
Yeah, that the scary one about the Luminaria or something.
Yeah. I think it was called Avengers Endgame. Yeah. Right. That's the movie I saw. I don't know who you saw. But
shit.
Yeah, so Yvonne
I need to go spend 3 hours in the movie theater again.
Yvonne and I both spent 3 hours watching Avengers Endgame in two separate cities. A tale of two cities, as it were. Because I'm sure your movie-going experience was completely different from mine. Mine was a whole shit show. We had to find tickets in Bay Ridge, and it was bad. Not because of the theater or the staff, but because it's such a popular movie and its opening weekend, I think. So yeah, we both saw the movie, and so from here on out, we have to warn everyone listening that there are spoilers involved in this podcast. We're going to just go over major plot things, and we want to discuss the movie as a whole and whether or not it's a fitting end game to this chapter of Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that's what people talk about on the internet when you're in this realm. Yvonne.
Yo.
How do you wanna break this down? You're the man with the plan usually.
Usually. So Avengers Endgame is the culmination of how many 26 movies?
Yeah, I think.
In such, it has 20 something characters then, because each movie introduced at least one, so that's up to
go figure. Yeah,
up to Makes 50 sense. Characters that are in this movie.
Yes,
this movie is 3 hours long.
Yeah,
can you believe that?
I can't. I'm actually kind of impressed that they fit all of that in 3 hours. I was more impressed than not.
Way too much for 3 hours, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I applaud the editing team, because I'm sure they had a lot of crazy ideas for this movie. I'm sure they wanted to do so much, but in order to fit it in an acceptable amount of time to ask people to spend in a movie theater and tell a concise a story with a beginning, middle, and end, that editing team must have had to cut down hours and hours and hours of footage. Not that that isn't the general case for most movies. Almost all movies.
Hours and hours. Just the sheer amount of locations and footage that you're dealing with this. So, it's a wildly, incomprehensibly large scale movie. Not just in terms of money, because this is by far the most expensive one yet, but
in terms of just Marvel movies,
and probably close to the most expensive movie on record.
Yeah, I don't know if Avatar still has that beat if you adjust for inflation, but I don't know. We're not here to discuss. Well, we can discuss money if you want.
I mean, I think that's
it's
part
important.
of it.
It's important.
So Avengers Endgame. Let's see.
Ivan's on the. He's juggling many hats today.
I am. I'm doing a lot of different things. Let's see if I can find cost. Yeah. So regardless of cost, it's the fastest to 100 million, all the way to 350 million.
Oh yeah, there was no doubt this movie would
It's made
make
1.2 billion dollars
in a weekend.
Yeah.
Or was that opening day? Didn't opening day they broke records too?
Heading into the weekend, it was a foregone conclusion. A global weekend of over 1 billion. But a massive 1.2 billion at the global box office in just its first 5 days in release.
So a lot of movies like to skew the results just to say that they're the number one in the box office. They like to say, not skew results, but how they phrase results. But this one is probably actually just, they're like, we just made the most money.
Yeah, so largest April spring opening, Avengers Infinity War. Endgame is huge.
Yeah.
So it's crazy. So think about the fact that Marvel is owned by Disney. Disney owns Star Wars now, and all of the records are set by either Marvel movies or Disney movies.
Or Star Wars movies. Or Disney movies also.
I meant Star Wars movies as Disney movies. So it's crazy, and then this is the biggest one, I think, will be the biggest movie of all time going forward. And it's just...
Until they do it again.
Yeah, maybe the new Star Wars film. But this is still the culmination of 26 movies, each which grossed a ton of money. So much is invested. You think of these movies not just as like comic book people. They're cultural touchstones. Everybody goes to watch them. It also creates a ton of jobs. Yeah. From like everybody who goes into CGI, set dressing. Having worked on a couple of movies now, I didn't actually look at every scene and be like, wow, look at all the set dressing here. But occasionally, when the action was a little slower, I was a little bored or whatever, I would just be like, oh, that's a really cool piece. Oh, that's a cool piece. And just thinking about like how all of the stations...
How everything had some meaning in there.
Yeah, right? And how everything works together in just a movie production sense and not just... a Marvel tie-in throughout the thing.
Right. Yeah. So you said 26 movies. Again, I don't know. We don't know if that's. Do you know if that's the exact number?
No. I think it's around there.
This is the most ambitious project
21
then, right?
Movies.
21. Right.
No, wait.
Oh God.
But it says 21 movies and then it has a 22nd.
Okay. Well. Anyways.
22 films in total.
Let's say it's above 20 movies, right? This is the biggest collection of movies. I guess, wait, no, James Bond has more. Never mind. But in terms of a cohesive story, I think this is the biggest one, right? This is the biggest collection of movies that all tie into this one movie in the end, right? Yes. And of course, it's called Endgame in that it's ending a chapter of Marvel Cinematic Universe. Of course, it leaves the opportunity for many. Of course, a lot of people survive this movie. So there's a lot of options for them to continue on and create new movies in this universe. And they'll harken back to this, I guess, in some ways. So I thought it was pretty impressive that they've actually pulled this off at all. I think
30 Godzilla films, by the way. All right, probably
really?
More though.
That's cool.
But not just in a single franchise, but in general around
right.
Godzilla.
So yeah, I mean, even to that point, right? So there have been movies, and there's like 15 Halloween movies, right, or something. I don't know. Yeah. So there are a lot of, and those are all tied together, actually, aren't they? Well, come to think of it, except for this new one, which complete resets.
No, they're not. Some of them reset and all that stuff. Regardless.
Okay, so this is a cohesive story of 20 movies. That's crazy, right? That's nuts. And they pulled it off. I think they've pulled it off to a certain extent. They have so many fans, and so many expectations are so high, and people went in. It was like, you don't really get these types of moments in cinema anymore, right? It used to be that going to a movie was a super special thing, and people really loved going to movies because they didn't have TVs back in the day to watch everything, or your smartphone or anything. So just being able to get so many people on board, not only from the production side, but also just fans so excited, and make it such a special event, and to go see a movie and everyone's excited and everyone's reacting in the movie theater, that's really special. And I applaud Marvel for, and of course Disney for doing all of that alone. I think that's really great. It made so many people happy, and I'm really happy for everyone that enjoyed the movie.
Did you have people clapping in the theater?
Yeah, it's New York City, man. People get rowdy. It's nasty.
What moment? Okay, let's go through that then. In terms of fan reaction in the theater, what moments do you remember? What moments people clapped for?
There were a lot of moments. I mean, the movie's so long, so I have to think.
I only had like 3 distinct moments where people were like clapping.
Okay. I mean, I'm assuming they're the same ones. Like the huge scene where all the Avengers come back, as we have Captain America, Iron Man, and Thor fighting Thanos, right? And they're all getting their ass handed to them because Thanos is an unbeatable person one-on-one. And then I guess the Wizards of Time, whatever they're fucking called. I'm not a Marvel fan.
I never watched Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange people, those guys. They bring everyone through. You got T'Challa. That was surprisingly not a scene. Not that we had. I guess there was only like one black person in the audience because that person was super hype when Black Panther came through, right?
Like when those 3 came through.
Everyone,
the entire audience started cheering in my.
We had a pocket of people cheering for Black Panther. I was super hyped for Black Panther. I mean, that was sick, and he looks so cool coming through, right? Because
that was
Black
absolutely
Panther, right?
Also a rewrite after the success of Black Panther for the first people to come through to be Black Panther.
Go figure. The one that got the most cheering in that scene was Spider-Man in New York City. I don't even understand it.
Spider-Man got a huge ovation too.
Because Tom Holland is actually really great in the role. I don't necessarily like Spider-Man that much. I think I like his villains a lot. I don't really like Spider-Man that much, but I like Tom Holland as Spider-Man. He's cool.
Yeah.
He's really funny. And then they really like the Valkyrie lady. I forget her name.
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah, they really. Well, that's the actress. What is her name?
She just goes by Valkyrie.
Oh, okay. Yeah, they for some reason my group of people that I was watching with really liked her. I don't know. And they were really hype about Thor. When Captain America used Thor's hammer, they got really excited for that. That was sick.
My theater too.
That was a really cool scene. I liked it a lot.
It's like, I knew he was worthy.
That was funny. I thought, and of course, Chris Hemsworth did a great job as Thor as usual.
Chris Hemsworth is the best.
He's the best. He's so funny. Well cast in the role. Or he really made it his own. Anyways, I don't know if he was cast. He looks the role. He's kind of perfect for the role. I really liked Hulk in this movie. They gave Mark Ruffalo a CG makeover, so they made Mark Ruffalo look like the Hulk because he finally figured out how to control his Hulkness. So he can be the Hulk the whole time, but also be Mark Ruffalo, which is really cool. Hulkalo, yeah. Until they make the Columbo Ruffalo crossover, that's when he becomes the best person on the planet. But yeah, I think Nikki told me that he ended up spoiling this movie again. They gave him 5 different endings. This is what she told me. They gave him 5 different endings, so he didn't know which one it was. And apparently one of them was the ending where, of course, Captain America gets married. He ended up spoiling that in an interview somehow. What a guy. What a fucking guy. Anyways, I thought he was hilarious in the movie as well.
A comic book movie. It's all been spoiled.
I know.
The material exists.
I know, but people get all uptight about this shit. I don't really care. But overall, like, a really impressive, cast. Of course, we've been watching their movies for 10 years now, right? And they've all really come into and made these characters their own. I really like, well, most of them. I don't like all of them, but I think they've become a lovable cast of characters, and that's really where Marvel is shining here, as opposed to DC movies. They're able to have a cohesive story with really characters that you really like, and that's honestly the best part of the movies, that you can like these characters and what they say, and it really becomes an enjoyable movie-going experience when, like you said, we did a Thor Ragnarok spoiler cast once, like 2 years ago. And you pointed out that these movies are really best when they're written with comedy in mind, and I completely agree with you. The best parts of these movies were the comic parts of the movies, of this movie, I think.
I think that the writers have a much better grasp on how to deliver a joke. Like, the characters, it's much easier for us to be laugh at something than them having to construct a emotional moment.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, for instance, super spoiler. At the end,
We've
Iron
already
Man,
spoiled it. So.
Yeah, I know. But at the end, Iron Man dies, right?
Yeah.
So Pepper Potts is coming up to him, and there's supposed to be this, like, moment between Pepper Potts and Iron Man. But Gwyneth Paltrow is never in these movies because she fucking hates them. So I don't really give a shit about Pepper Potts because she's never
weird.
in the movies.
It was weird. I thought it was also really funny that she just pushed Spider-Man out of the way. Out of the frame. She's like, stop. I need to talk to him.
Gwyneth Paltrow's like, have you heard about Goop? As she's pushing Tom Holland away. It's not even... That wasn't scripted. That was just Gwyneth trying to get Goop into the movie. We were talking about that because Laura was also intrigued by, like, when I told her that Gwyneth Paltrow is hardly in the movies.
Yeah.
And, pushing that Goop lifestyle. But there was supposed to be, like emotional touch points, or at the end at the funeral where they slide through each of the groups,
was a little
like
much.
For histories of the thing. I'm just like,
They just all look funny in a suit.
I know.
Not the actual suit, especially Hulk. Come on.
One guy that I just literally had no idea who the fuck he was.
Which
he
guy?
was like the one guy who was just standing by himself.
He looked like a teenager or something. He's like
I had no idea
the tall white guy. I don't know who that guy was either.
So
whatever. I don't know.
That guy was there.
I also don't know who the character Sam is, the black guy who gets the shield at the end.
Oh, the Falcon.
Yeah. Oh, he's Falcon? I thought
Yeah.
Yep.
He's Falcon
there you go.
from movies such as Captain America: Civil War, where
I like that
Falcon
one.
is still the most useless character in the entire.
Okay.
He is the Jubilee of the Avengers.
Okay, that's funny. Okay, you've okay. Now I understand. So then, why did they spend so much time on? It was just right. So
Falcon
this
has
is
a really,
where,
in terms of like the history of comic books, Falcon has a really important part in terms of the history of black characters in comic books.
Okay.
But in terms of
Marvel movies.
In terms of like Marvel movies and power levels, Falcon is just
not
like
over
the most
9,000
useless character.
That's funny. So yeah, this is where we have to discuss editing, right? The movie is, we've got literally every character. It's too long, but also surprisingly that short, right? I think for telling a story with this many characters and being able to give them, or deciding, so the idea is, how do you decide how much screen time to give everyone, right? I don't know. I think that was impressive.
By contract size? I don't know.
Exactly, right? So
Robert Downey Jr. has the biggest contract,
except
so we give him this
what about Paul Rudd?
Time.
Why does he have so much screen time in this movie?
Because they cut him out of Infinity War.
Yeah, but they cut... I know they did. Exactly. So this is what I was saying. Like, we have such a confusing amount of characters.
Thematically, it makes sense because the quantum realm is so important in this.
Yeah.
Thing.
Right.
But I think at the same time, as long as this movie is and as long as it feels, it also is like Deus Ex Machina in a lot of different points. Just like this thing just happened to happen this way. It should have, and I rarely say this, it should have been 3 movies.
Like Lord of the Rings. What is it? The Hobbit? They turned that into 3
The
movies?
Hobbit should have been at most 2 movies, but this had enough in it to be 3 movies because the time travel part of this whole thing is an entire movie, and then going back and refacing against.
I like that. Yeah, I thought the whole plot mechanism of going back in time during different timelines was interesting. I like that.
It was fine. I just thought it was too short.
Right. As opposed,
it was like. Yeah. Oddly, some parts of it were too long, and some parts of it were way too short.
Right. So I don't know, for some reason Star Wars Episode 8 is popping into mind right now when we're talking about this, because I guess we're talking about the main part of the movie and the whole plot mechanism that moves this forward. Like, Star Wars did it wrong, where their whole idea was that they were slowly outpacing the enemy ship, right? and that was the entire movie.
I still can't comprehend that was the entire movie. Like, space where you can move in any direction. They're just going like this.
Well, as we all know, space is a flat plane. But... this movie I thought was interesting in that I thought the main plot device to move the plot forward was interesting, and I thought it was, for the most part, well executed, I guess. I mean, they could have... I thought it was interesting.
What was the main plot to you?
The main plot... Yeah, that's a good question. You got me beat there. I was a little... I thought it started off slowly, like super slow. And basically the main plot is, we gotta get the stones back, and then snap everyone back to existence. So that we can recover all the people
who... Yeah,
and that's literally... So, yeah, so... And that's almost... verbatim said in the movie. We gotta get the stones back to get everyone back. That's like the plot of the movie. That
was one of Captain America's awesome speeches that even Rocket Raccoon said, he does really good at that.
Yeah, he's really good at that. Yeah, so that's where this movie kind of falls for apart. Me. It's like dialogue is not that amazing. But I mean, but then you have to factor in, who's this movie for? It's also for the kids, right? The kids love this shit. They had Fortnite in the movie, it's not Disney is walking a fine line here, right? They're trying to make movies that have a general theme of things for kids, right? Because that's what the company started on. But they're also trying to integrate more interesting things that would intrigue adults in the movie, even though everyone's just a man-child now. It doesn't matter, right? The majority of people seeing this movie and Star Wars are just like people who are almost 30 now or almost 40 now, and they grew up watching this, right? So they have to make it for the kids, but they also have to make it for the people who are that age now. But
to be fair, this was the whole thing of the Flintstones and the Jetsons back in the day, right. By the way.
Yeah.
They were cartoons that had two levels of jokes. The levels that the kids could understand and the levels that the parents could understand. Yeah. This is not a unique thing to the new generation of lazy assholes who just want to stay in their childhood. This kind of like watching cartoons as a family has existed for a long period of time. So I buck against that, like, everybody's a man-child, except for in the Marvel Universe, where everybody in the Marvel Universe is a man-child.
It's true.
Except for Captain America, who's just bland.
Yeah, but he's got America's ass, man. But yeah, so that was a funny scene. I thought that was a
really funny scene.
So as we said before, as you said before, you know, this movie really shines in the comedy. That's the best part of the movie. When you get a joke, or when Hulk is making a joke at Thor, like, this is the funniest part of the movie, and it's the best part of the movies. Not the plot, right? The plot is not necessarily that important at all, honestly. I don't think. But I guess,
like we were saying, the dialogue really falters when you're trying to make those heartfelt beats.
And the heartfelt
But it's
stuff,
easy because you have really charismatic, like, comedic actors just being themselves. And I think that's where Thor Ragnarok shine. That's why Guardians is so popular. Mm-hmm. It's just like, they're fun movies with actors who are playing up to, I kind of think, a better like atmosphere. Mm-hmm. In terms of when the writing is a bit more comedic, it kind of makes more sense. When it gets really like dour, I don't feel like a lot of these characters really fit into that. Like, as great of an actor as Robert Downey Jr. is, his character isn't that tragic in the arc that is shown.
Yeah, right.
So there's not a lot of like sadness that goes into it. But I would say the opposite is true of Thanos. I really thought Josh Brolin played Thanos really, really well. Mm-hmm. Not super funny, but he was one of the only characters that I felt emotionally, that had emotional consistency and emotional, could play to a deeper level of emotion than a lot of the other characters.
Yeah, he was definitely, I think he was one of the most interesting characters in the movie. And that's good writing, when you empathize with the villain, right? So you can almost understand why he's doing this, right? Not that I would ever do that.
But nobody stops to think, is Thanos right?
Exactly. And what you're saying about Iron Man's character, right, is I totally agree with you. Like, all of a sudden now he cares about family, right? I guess so all of a sudden now he cares about family. Right? He had 3 Iron Man movies. They were trying to tell some sort of story in them. The first one was fine. It kickstarted I don't know. Anyway, right? So he's always been known for, he's one of the leaders of the Avengers, and he's an asshole, right? And now they're trying to layer in that he wants to have a family and leave, and this is it, right? He doesn't really, like, he wants to cut his losses now. He's done so much for the world, but he also has that little bit where he still loves, he still wants to be a hero. So they're trying to layer all that in, and then he ends up having a tragic ending where he dies, but he saves everyone, right? He finally did what he sought out to do, save everyone. But like you're saying, I don't know. It was sad to see him go, but it's I guess it had to happen. But like, again, coming back to
it had
Thanos,
to happen because his contract is so fucking big.
Yeah,
all I can see when I see Robert Downey is the story, all of the articles talking about how much his fucking contract is.
Well, he's a rich man. I mean, but I think Nikki and I were talking about this when we had dinner after the movie. I think that if it wasn't for him being so doing such a good job in his role, I don't think this would be nearly as popular. They couldn't have gone as far as they did. I think he really kickstarted. Iron Man was the first movie in not chronologically, but in the cinematic universe, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, it was.
And he was so successful in that role that I don't necessarily know if they had the whole script written for everything, or like the whole outline written, and they made so much money off of that movie that they were able to continue on with their project. I think he really did, solidify a whole general theme to the cinematic universe, and I don't think they would be where they are without him, without Robert Downey Jr. So I and not to mention, I do like Iron Man as a character. I think he's one of my favorite. I like the billionaires that have no actual superpowers. But yeah, so back to Thanos. I almost shed a tear when he died, because that look of disappointment in his face. Not the first time, that's for sure. Fuck that guy. No, I thought they did a really good job of animating him. I guess it was motion capture, but so then maybe it was a good acting job. But he looked really disappointed when he faded away, and that without any dialogue, it sort of conveyed a lot of emotion and told his story pretty well in that like 5 seconds of footage of him just dying. He was just so disappointed.
I thought he was the best character.
Yeah, I thought he was cool.
Although
I'm going to wait. What are you gonna do? He just sits there because he needs his daughters to prove his loyalty to him.
So the end battle that's there, right?
Yeah.
Do you think you can't drag that on because it's just a recreation of the battle in Infinity War?
You can't drag it on?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Why couldn't that have been a third movie? Is that whole thing because Infinity War had the big battle between Thanos and the Avengers?
Well, it's the rematch, right? Pretty much.
I guess Apollo.
It's like Apollo, Creed, and Rocky.
Rocky fought multiple times, right?
Yeah. The real story arc is just Rocky 1 and Rocky 2. He loses and then he wins. That's it. But that's essentially what happened in this movie, right? Again, I guess we can talk about. I think you can't. It's at that point. When they started it? What was like the time mark? Like 2.5 hours. At that point, I'm guessing.
When they started that battle, like 2:15 to 2:20, maybe.
Yeah. So it's an hour, and then again, there's like
or 2:20,
30 minutes of just ending scenes where you have to tie up all that loose ends and shit. Although they didn't. No. Well, yeah,
I get it. That little girl is super cute. The best
cute.
part of the movie, in many respects.
She was cute.
But
I didn't. She didn't need a scene. I don't think she needed a scene. And then who was that guy who was with her? Is that
that's Happy?
The guy who's banging his mom now? Her mom now? Is that what's happening?
That is the driver.
Stepdad. I'm banging your mom now? Huh? That's essentially, you'll never love me. You never call me daddy, but I get it.
But I'll get you cheeseburgers.
But I get it, all right? Is that him?
Oh, man. He was in the first Iron Man. He was in the first two.
I know, but and he was also he's in the new Spider-Man movie, but he doesn't actually have a role, does he? He has like 3 lines in the movie.
Yeah.
So why was he even there?
I think
he's a good actor. I know him.
That actor, Jon Favreau, directed the first Iron Man.
Oh, did he? I didn't know.
Yeah.
That. Well, that's whatever. Anyways,
there you go.
Okay.
Take that in your fucking pipe and smoke it.
Okay. Do you want to talk about this fight scene, or do you want to talk about some of the time travel stuff? What do you want to do? We're all 50 minutes in.
In terms of the fight scene,
well, again, I think we talked about it with Infinity War. But I don't like this generic zombie-like creature that they have to fight every time. I hate it. I hate it so much, and it's in so many movies and TV shows nowadays. They just make general horde enemies that they have to fight just so they can give every character something to fight against in every scene that they're in the fight scene.
But how else are you going to get the all-female superhero montage?
That was
the all-female Avengers Assembles scene
to save everyone.
Yeah. I mean, that was cool. It was a really cool moment to highlight the fact that so many women have been in this.
Right. You're like, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, wait, what? There's some more women in this universe? That's awesome. And it
culminates with the most boring character in the Marvel Universe, Carol Danvers. Fucking Carol.
God damn it, Carol. God damn it. Damn it, Carol. Yeah, so they have to have, if they're going to have that many Avengers, they have to have something to fight, right? Mm-hmm. So I understand it, but it's at the same time they just look so bland. I know they spent $1 billion on CGI and filming equipment and all the contracts. I get it, but I just feel like it's so boring to look at these enemies. That's what I don't mind that they are generic enemies. I mind that they look so generic. That I don't like the design of them. But I guess no one cares.
And they had
and they make $1 billion anyways.
Basically the ogres from
the Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings they unhooked and let them off the chain. They're gonna go kill them.
I know you know the exact line. Just say it.
I don't know the exact line.
Okay, fine. Release the Kraken. That's not from Lord? What is that from?
That's Pirates. That's
Pirates?
Your favorite series.
Oh, I love that movie. They had generic enemies too, but okay. Well, and so with a scene like this that they can't drag out because it's already 2.5 hours in, right? They have to.
You say they can't, yet I really feel they did.
Well, they had to give every single character their spotlight, their five seconds of fame, right? Or 15 seconds of fame, or like 5 minutes of fame for Spider-Man. So that's the climax of the movie. So they have to give everyone their spotlight, right? So like they just basically had to hit every scene, every cut they could because this is the movie. If they're going to do it in one movie, they have to, right? They had to have their scene where who's the redhead that has all the psychic powers? Scarlet Witch, yeah. She comes down from the sky, she hits the ground, and then the camera swoops in from under her while she's looking menacing at Thanos. And that's just a classic introduction to your character shot, right? It's like sort of under her, and she's like looking over the camera, and she's got like flaming eyes or whatever. Yeah, the slow pan up, right? They had to hit that one. They had to have the funny quips between each character, which we said are the best parts of the movie. And then they
best part of that battle was still when
a little bit of shaky cam.
Peter Quill got hit in the nutsack.
Oh yeah, that was. You missed the first time, but you hit the second. Yeah.
You got both of them on the second one.
So what are your general opinions on the It is the climax of the movie, right?
I guess it's where the most action happens, but I don't know. I would consider it the climax. I don't know what is the climax.
It has to be
very jumble mess of a movie. Yeah, it is. I don't know. I think it's still kind of the falling action. I think the emotional climax of the movie is still probably when Scarlett Johansson has to sacrifice herself, right?
Yeah. Which I couldn't care less about either of those characters.
Exactly. With Jeremy Renner and his stupid fucking Hawkeye hair.
Oh my god.
And
which they Hawkeye, had to, yeah.
Who nobody gives a fuck about. He hasn't even had his own movie, and he's got like one of the most critical points. Like, yeah, it really feels like somebody else could have been there.
And wait, I was just confused why they didn't even know that this was what you had to do to get the Soul Stone. Why didn't fucking Gamora tell? Gamora wasn't even there. Why didn't no one knew that had to happen?
Well, they were like, he went there with Gamora and he left there without her. I don't know what happened.
Okay, we're not here to discuss plot holes because whatever. Because
this movie is
too easy to do.
Big.
Yeah.
This movie is trying to accomplish way too much at the same time. It should have been 3 movies. And like,
they would have made 5 times the amount of money if they made it 3 movies. What were they thinking?
I agree. It's kind of ridiculous for it to be 3 movies, but I think that just like in the original trilogy of the Star Wars movies, right? Luke Skywalker gets his hand cut off and everything falls apart, right? I think Natasha Romanova dying, or Romanoff, could have been the cutoff of the second movie.
Mm-hmm.
I remember, but everybody's getting like sent back, and they have all the stones together, and then they're like, and then Nebula gets sent back. Cut second movie. Third movie is like figuring out and then dealing with an approaching Thanos, and then drawing that out more.
I agree. In that they could definitely draw out some scenes. Yeah, I think I can see what you're saying, right?
Goodbye to characters, and then it wouldn't have to be like 10 minutes, and then you can invent a few different enemies and not have just this generic scene where everybody comes back. Sure, everybody gets wished back with the gauntlet, but then one of the stones
with the Dragon Balls.
Yeah, something happens where it gets caught, but the ship gets destroyed by Carol Danvers, Captain Marvel, and they still have to locate where the gauntlet is or something like that. There are ways to drag out that third movie and make it a little bit more like in Infinity War, where you had the group like individual fights between the smaller groups of Avengers, which highlighted their powers a bit more.
Yeah.
When it was still like the smaller group, like you have the fight where Captain America shows up, where they're trying to steal a Vision Stone, and Gamora's backstory gets told, and stuff like that, and the fight in New York City with Bruce as where the Hulk won't come out, and Doctor Strange and Iron Man versus the other 2 guys. Like, you can have not against the same enemies, but mix it up and try something else. That's the hard part of reintroducing the exact same enemies, because Iron Man and all of them defeat the enemies in different ways. So going back and fighting them again just feels less. Yeah. So it is difficult, but maybe Thanos gets a hold of the PIMS particle and is able to bring back different versions of himself. Something like that, and make it a bit more interesting, because there's a lot of, like, in terms of canon, there's a lot of stuff that comes into play with Thanos.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean, in terms of canon, they're pulling from so many different storylines, aren't they? And comic book storylines. So, and they're sort of combining them and making it their own, but also trying to still stay true to the canon, right?
Yeah. I just really felt that they could have done a third movie, made everything seem a little bit more difficult to accomplish. Mm-hmm. Especially like the time travel things. It felt a little Inception-y, by the way.
Yeah.
When he was like, we're doing a time heist. We have to go deeper.
We have to go one more layer in. I love
Where's Ken
Inception.
Watanabe?
Dude, that guy is awesome.
He's awesome.
He's
going to be in the next Russo movie, by the way.
Really?
The Russo brothers shot another movie with Chadwick Boseman and Ken Watanabe and like a dozen other really famous actors.
That's exciting.
Or no. I might be mixing that up with the new Godzilla movie.
Still
Chadwick
awesome.
Boseman and Taylor Kitsch and a few other people are definitely in the same movie together.
That's cool.
But the new Godzilla movie has literally everybody.
I guess we'll have to do a spoiler cast for that. When does that movie come out? Who cares?
I don't know.
Oh, we got to do Pokemon too. That's coming up next. It's coming out next month, I think. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting that they use old footage for the time thing, the time heist. I guess I thought particularly Natalie Portman being in there was surprising. She was in it, right? She had woke up and then
Natalie Portman was there.
It was old footage, definitely, because only Rocket Raccoon was in that scene, and they could easily just add that in. Or, well, I don't know how easy it is to add in, but they could add him in to that footage. I'm assuming it was all digital at some point. So, yeah, and she didn't actually say anything in the scene. I don't even know why they had it. Oh, literally, so he could steal the stone, right? I thought the scene with Thor and his mom was good. I like that scene. Again, every scene that Thor is in is just pretty top notch.
Chris Hemsworth is the best.
He in this movie, definitely, yeah. It's just fat Thor, dad bod Thor. Yeah, I thought that was pretty spot on for acting side from his mother. They definitely made it feel like a mother and son interaction, and then also made it funny as well. It was great. So I like that time travel the
homage,
most.
Thor. My favorite moment of the whole movie is Thor's homage to the dude, where he's in the same sweater.
Exactly. Oh man. Well, okay. I mean, I guess we've touched upon a lot of things sort of sporadically. Overall, is this a fitting ending to this chapter of Marvel movies, Vaughn? And where do you think it goes from here?
They'll keep making Avengers movies because they make too much money.
Yes. Captain Marvel will be in them. She's popular.
Could you have a more boring character? This is everybody's qualms with Superman is my qualm with Captain Marvel, by the way.
Yes, I see what you're saying.
I think this is fine for most of the characters who don't want to show up anymore.
Because their contracts are not.
Yeah, basically. I am excited for a Guardians of the Galaxy Thor crossover movie.
That
I could watch
amazing.
Like a couple more of those before I get super bored.
That was the one ending scene that they dragged out appropriately. Could have been longer. In fact, it will be. They're making an entire movie about it.
Yeah. I was just watching Infinity War, and the moments at the beginning of the movie where they pick the Guardians, pick Thor up,
yeah.
And they're like, he's like a pirate met an angel. I just forgot how fucking funny Drax's interactions and Rocket's interactions with Thor are. It's so good. It's so funny.
They must have had so much fun filming that. I can imagine there's a lot of outtakes that weren't used at all. A lot of that has to be improvised, I feel like.
Yeah, if it's the same feel as Thor Ragnarok, I'd basically watch anything with
Chris
Thor.
Hemsworth,
and I think Chris Hemsworth is hilarious.
He's so funny.
Think they misused him in that like Shakespearean role. that Kenneth Branagh tried to make him play
in the
funny
first two. Well, yeah, first two movies of Thor. That is, I agree. Yeah. But of course, he also looks the role, which is really important. I think
he's so
that guy.
Sexy. He's so
is ripped. Even in this movie, you can see he's got a 6-pack on his fat tummy. It's great.
I couldn't understand whether he was just like really pushing his stomach out or he really was that fat. Like I really couldn't tell, to be honest.
That's how good it was. I thought it was just a fat suit, like what's it called? Dr. Dolittle with Eddie Murphy. Yeah, so I agree. I can't wait for the Guardian Galaxy movie, even though I didn't see the second one. I also think Chris Pratt is hilarious, obviously. So that movie I'm looking forward to. I guess there's more Spider-Man to be had. There will be more of that. And then I don't really actually follow any of this, surprise, any of this Marvel crap in the comics. I don't know where they can go from here. There's some villain that they're going to fight again, right? The Avengers fight after Captain America passes on. There has to be. It's Thanos 2. They're going to have another Avengers group. Who do you know anything about the Avengers after Captain America passes on the shield, as it were?
There are so many iterations of, and of course, the Avengers and everything that it really depends on.
They have different timelines, of course.
What they're going to be doing. So,
okay, well,
I don't think there's an easy answer to what's next.
The answer is there's kids growing up now that will start with these new Avengers, and they're going to give all their money to Disney. That's the answer. Along with new Star Wars after this episode 9, which we will do a Spoilercast for as well. Not to mention in the future, probably in November and December, we're going to review every single Star Wars movie there is to date. I think that's a good idea, and we'll do that in anticipation for episode 9 and the ending of the Skywalker trilogy. Quadrilogy, trilogy of trilogies, thank God. It's really
Skywalker shall be no more, or shall he not? I heard the Emperor's laugh at the end. Do people really die? I don't know.
It's supposed to be about Leia.
Episode 10.
It's supposed to be about Leia, the new one. Anyways, whatever.
The Rise of Skywalker just tells me that they're going to name a ship or a temple or something Skywalker, and that's what it's actually going to be referring to.
Anyways, I think they ended Endgame in the most in the most Disney and Marvel way possible. It's just super safe. And it's a style of movie that just can't really be penetrated. They've perfected it by now, and it's got that, seal of quality. It's going to give you only so much, right? So it's the movie that ends this chapter, and they're gonna move on. So it's fine. People love it. People don't love it. I don't really care. I thought the beginning was a little slow, personally. They were trying to go with too much emotional shit that really wasn't explained at all, honestly. I think.
I love it. Nobody knows where Thanos is. And then 30
Captain
seconds
Marvel.
later, there was an incredible energy burst.
Where's
2
Thanos?
days ago.
We know where Thanos is. There he is. Let's kill him. Oh, he's dead. Let's get the stones, and then that's it.
But seriously. There's like a line where it says, "No, we've had deep space scans. We don't know where he is." And then they're like, 2 days ago, there was the biggest energy blast ever felt since
you used these stones 2 days ago.
I used the stones to destroy the stones.
God damn it.
They're the only things powerful enough to destroy the stones.
Of course. We can go back in time because of quantum physics. There you go. Good job explaining that, guys. I was like, oh, let me see their explanation here. Hold on. And then it was just the explanation I thought it was going to be. We can just do it. Oh, wait, Iron Man figured it out. He got this. Anyways, we end our podcast. I hope, keep the conversation going in the comment section below. Tell us that we're idiots and hate us and whatever you got to do. All right? Because we hated your movie. No, we didn't hate the movie, but we said something negative about your favorite movie ever. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for listening to the podcast. Keep it going. Okay. We end our podcast every single week in a song in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is where you, the listener or viewer, can send in your music to gaminghungover@gmail.com. Links in the description below. And if you'd like to share your music for free, more advertising for you. It's really good. We play it at the end of this podcast every single week. But if no one sends in a song, I get to pick one. Today, I'm going to pick Final Fantasy X. Some song from there. 1 hour. Let's go with... I like the battle theme. Oh, that's 30 minutes long. Let's go... Why does it have to be 30 minutes long? Oh, this song... No, that's going to give us a copyright strike. Let's go with the battle theme from Final Fantasy X. I'll edit it in. I hope you guys enjoy this podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll actually put a Let's Play out for once. But until next week, Ivan, I don't know what the podcast will be about next week, but it should be fun. It's always a good time. We won't know
until an hour before we record.
That's how we do it. Thank you, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.